Welcome to PAO Fans International. You're joined by Antoni and myself today, a Australia-American collaboration. Welcome, Antoni.
Hey there, Sturge. Happy to be here back with my Australian mate.
Yep, this is when times suit for us. Just that few hours difference, which is always kind to chat.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it lined up pretty good for us to get back on the chat again, and we have a lot to talk about for sure today.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Now, before we kick it off, I do want to mention, and I know we did this on our socials, a special shout out to part-time. We haven't seen him for a while, but part-time host Mitso for representing Greece in the rugby union. It's not a small feat. It is a big achievement. Coming from a relatively obscure nation when it comes to rugby union, as a minnow. So well done to Mitso on that.
Yeah, that's super cool. Shout out to Mitso, making us Greek Americans proud.
All right, let's kick things off straight away. Now, we've got obviously mixed results. Let's start off with obviously the disappointing one, the 4-0 loss, which was an aggregate of 4-1 to Real Betis. Ruibal opened up the scoring in the 8th minute. A long-range shot was hit the crossbar. Ruibal was the quickest to respond to that. The only one to respond to that just ran in, tap in into almost an empty goal. 45th plus 1 minute, the controversial goal by Amrabat, where um, he scored from long range, but all the foul players had stopped because what was a blatant offside, even according to all the rules and Spanish media. The play just before it, the Betis player, El Zazuzi, something like that, he was in the offside position. He even gave himself up where he just booted the ball up in the air because he was offside. It came off Sanchez straight into the path of Amrabat, who just hit a long range shot where all the bowl players stopped. And it was a sweet hit. It was not easy. But still, all the bowl players had stopped and it counted somehow. Real ridiculous. And then Cucho Hernandez in the 53rd minute through a counter attack. Essentially, he was one-on-one with the keeper in the 53rd minute. And then Antoni, similar passage again, counter attack. And he scored. How did you see the match overall?
Yeah, it was disappointing, honestly. I was so hyped going into the game. First 10 minutes you could tell it was a little bit nervy, but the Pelistri miss was really, really big. There were two things for me that really kind of swung momentum. It was that Pelistri miss and then that second goal that shouldn't have counted at all. I That completely blew the wind out of our sails. That Pelistri, I think it was the 7th minute, had a nice through ball go in, shot the ball right at the foot of the keeper. They almost immediately scored off that on a counter attack. I think like a couple minutes later. And then that second goal right before halftime. I mean, the worst time to concede. I remember I was telling myself, as long as we can go into halftime, we're down 1-0, but we can kind of reassess, we can make adjustments. That was such a blatant, horrible call. And I think it just psychologically just blew the wind out of our sails. And we started off the second half, no changes, nothing, conceded again like around the 50th or so minute. And it was wraps after that. It's frustrating because I feel like we can play the what if game, but if it was just 1-0 going into halftime and we were even on aggregate score, who knows? We could have seen some adjustments from halftime. We maybe would have came out a little bit differently, but we came out flat and we just gave up. And hats off to Betis. Obviously, the quality of that team's very, very good. La Liga is not a pushover league at all, but I feel like we were hard done by for sure. We were unlucky, and then we had a bad call go against us. I can't be too mad at the team. They tried, but the 4-0 just it stings really, really bad after getting so hyped up, for the game this week. So I'm just left feeling a little bitter, honestly.
Yeah, look, I think. it all started off within the first few minutes with the police tree attack where he was almost one on one from the side. He probably should have found the back of the net. I know it was a little bit of an angle, but one on one there. If we get that early goal, it's not to say that we would have won, but being 1-0 up, we would have had a big psychological advantage. We'd be two up in the tie, we'd be defending fierce, everything. It would have really hurt Betis, but Betis found the goal not long after that. So you can see what happened. Like it was, we had the opportunity to go 1-0 up, but Betis scored pretty much right after that play. So instead of going up two goals into that tie, it was back to even. And even at 1-0, like the game is basically nil all at that point because the aggregate would have been 1-0. Um, and then from there on, it was just the sustained pressure, not much happening from us in attack. Betis were looking pretty strong. I found that there was again a little bit isolated. He had a couple of chances where a little bit of a break, but then that Nathan for them was just an absolute beast. He was phenomenal for them, and he was a class above the other two defenders next to him, where Tete was able to beat those players, and Nathan would come in and just like always be there clearing up all the trouble, all the danger. And then that goal right before halftime, it's a big psychological blow as well, as you said, because at 1-1, you go into the dressing room, it's even. The game is in the balance. That goal being offside, especially, we're going to the dressing room with our heads down. We have to change things up. We have to now start attacking the game. And that wouldn't be our strength against this quality team in Betis. They're no slouches. They're coming fifth in Spain for a reason. They're a very good team. They're missing Isco, but um, still a very good team. And that's it. We're made to pay our chances for going 2-0 down. We kind of had to take a risk and we got exposed against a quality team that's fast, very good on the counter, have some quality players, international players, Brazilian internationals. We're talking about Spanish. We're talking about players all over the park that are very good. So, look, I think the scoreline reflects what we actually saw. Betis 20 shots, 92% accuracy passing. I know a lot of it would have been their short passing, but um, very, yeah, very, very harsh. But look, the officiating very questionable. I think we've had a really rough ride with the officiating. I'm just looking at the stats here. We committed 4 fouls for 4 yellow cards. That's what the stats are showing me.
Ridiculous.
We saw
Yeah.
that the yellow card, the not the yellow card, the offside. You can clearly see he was offside. We saw on their first goal, they showed us the lines, they showed us the goal line technology, everything like that in regards to their shot they hit off the crossbar, but they never showed anything offside, no lines or anything for that second goal because it was offside. Like they couldn't. Yeah, I think. Look, I'm not going to say the officiating is to blame for the loss, but you're looking at all these circumstances. It was always going to be difficult for us. It was always going to be difficult for us. It's not going to say that in the second half we've not been blown out either, had it been 1-0 and that goal got ruled off. But there's all these circumstances that do hurt us. And, we can't go thinking we're going to win a tie or anything if we're only going to have two shots either.
Yeah, 100%. You're right. And call me biased. Maybe I'm wearing my Panathinaikos glasses, but yeah, that second goal is what I think really kind of altered everything for us. Again, maybe still would have lost, but I don't know if we would have been blown out either. 4-0 is really harsh on us, I think. And like you said, the fouls and the cards that we were getting, I think we were a little hard done by, honestly. But like you mentioned though, Natan, I think was a real big difference maker for them. I mean, only 25 years old. This guy, I think he's gonna go to a bigger team in Spain, I think. But yeah, that day was basically kind of just nullified in that game, and that hurt us as well. I did want to give a shout out to Sanchez though. I felt like Renato Sanchez, even though we lost, I felt like The last two games, the first leg and the second leg, I felt like he was putting in shifts. Like he really has turned things around. It was kind of nice to see the effort from him there in the midfield. But that was at least kind of a bright spot. Of course, Taborda as well. These guys, they really put in effort for us, which I really like. Um, Shout out, by the way, to Chris as well. Chris, he was able to meet Taborda and I think a couple other players at the airport because he actually traveled to Seville for the game. So that was really cool.
Yeah, our very own Akunda went to the game. He said positive things about obviously his experience there. Obviously, not the result wise, but he did see the players. He wanted to leave them because uh, they kind of looked not distraught, but very disappointed. But he did manage a photo with Taborda. Um, Taborda doesn't appear the tallest player, but yeah, I think Akunda is a bit tall himself. But yeah, it
Yeah,
did. It's good to see that the players still there for the fans.
100%.
Um,
I think yeah, what Taborda is like probably five. Oh, he's 5'9".
yeah, so still he's shorter than me,
Same.
but yeah. Look, our European journey does come to an end with that result. But look, overall, if you told me before the Europa campaign we get to this stage, I'd be happy. I'd say yeah, it's a pass mark. Getting to this stage and losing to a quality opponent. Had we played someone a weaker team by European standards, then yeah, I'd be disappointed. But we lost against a Spanish team. Spanish teams, especially in Spain, historically, we don't do too well. Um, so
None of the
look,
Greeks.
yeah. So look, overall, I gave us a pass mark for this. The result 4-0 does hurt now, and we'll talk about Rafa later. But this does put a little bit of a blemish on the positive run that is done. But yeah, we'll talk about what this means for Rafa soon. But we'll go to the next match, which was the Asteras Tripolis game, the final game of the regular season. Um, we won 2-1, courtesy of both penalties. I'd say the first one was a clear penalty. That one required no hesitation. Zaruri in the 31st minute scored from the penalty spot, smacked it straight in the middle. This was after a foul by the Asteras player, just cleanly, just stupidly, I should say, takes out Tete. No arguments about that. Then Tete in injury time in the 45th plus 4 minutes scored from the penalty spot after a handball. Now, I'm usually a bit biased. I would, for Panathinaikos. That one I felt was a bit of a harsh penalty against Asteras Tripolis. The ball bounced up. There's nothing really that the Asteras Tripolis player could have done in that position. I know it alters the direction, but at that closeness where it hit him, if that happened, if we conceded that penalty, I'd be absolutely livid. So I do understand. Yes, by laws it is a handball, but I felt it was a little bit too harsh. Um, Tete just sent the keeper the wrong way, took a 2-0 lead, and then the match was pretty much cruise control. Nothing really happening for both sides. And then Asteras Tripolis in the 82nd minute scored with a very comical own goal thanks to Ingerson. Um, I think it was just two missed passes in the back. We gifted them the ball both times. They put an innocent looking cross. Looks like Sudeski was trying to cover it, running onto it, but the ball hit him on the back, and Lafont was in an out. You'd have to question. I know Ingerson should have been tracking the ball better, but I don't know what Lafont was doing running out to just get to the ball on that weird sort of angle when he would have seen that Ingerson was there. Um, because it kind of had that Brignoli vibes against Atromitos a few years back, where he just ran with that overhit, missed that free kick, and their player just got a head to it in an empty net. It kind of had those sort of vibes. How did you see this match?
Yeah, it wasn't anything too eventful or exciting, honestly, for us. Like you said, two penalties, and an own goal. Doesn't really scream like it was the match of the century or anything. But I agree. I think our the second penalty, it felt like it was a little soft. And I guess by the rules, it's a penalty. I think if it touches your hand and changes some direction, like you mentioned. But I was literally, you stole the words out of my mouth. As I watched it, I'm like, I would have been so mad if this happened against us. Um, you know, as for that own goal, yeah, I don't know what was going on, just big time miscommunication. Ingeson kind of shoulders it, thinking that Lafont's gonna stay there, but I guess Lafont I don't know what he was thinking, but he just decided he's gonna run out towards the right, which kind of had me confused as well. And like I saw fans on Twitter kind of like questioning what was the motive, what was like the thought process behind that. Um, you know, again, nothing too crazy for me with this game. It would have it had we won last time or last game, I think it would have really shaken things up a lot more for us, kind of heading into the playoffs. I'm forgetting what's our point difference now from third place?
Our point difference is 8 points,
Oh, 8 points now. Okay, so had we won last time, well, we would have been off by 6 points.
6 points against third place, yeah. And this
Yeah,
is what I was complaining about. I felt that we should have gone harder and really should have gone for it against Panetolikos. We should
agreed.
have not put all our eggs in the basket for Betis because you can't predict what's going to happen in Betis, but you kind of can see what the scenario is going to look like. We should have just really gone for the win against Panetolikos and just thrown in a few of those strikers, those starting players. So like Tete, we really should have gone for it, or else it would have been 6 points, and we are in the hunt at that point. Um,
Mhm.
so eight 8 points was it's still 3 games. We could have been now 2 games behind. Oh, but Bulks. Yeah, we would have been what 6 points. We've beaten them once, and they beat us as well. So we're still there in that hunt.
Yeah.
Would have been what's it called? We would have been 7 points behind Olympiacos as well, which we've got the better head to head. Like anything could have happened at that point. Now, just dropping
Mhm.
those are 2 important points, it looks like last week, and we're sitting a little bit behind. But that's what with the status game, everything looked very cruise control. Nothing really happening a whole lot from either teams. Asteras Tripolis is battling relegation. They're sitting last now. Um, Equal points with
Yeah.
Panathinaikos, 6 points behind the safety spot. But yeah, that's anything that can happen there. There's not much really to report on the game against us. It was just really a cruise control. We were never really out of second gear. We got the result, but
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
And I mean, oh, sorry.
yeah, yeah, you can go. You can jump in. That's fine.
Yeah, yeah. So, and just looking at the standings, just kind of like building off that as well. Like, if we look at our rivals, it seems like we actually are in a little bit better form than the other three as well. Like Balk lost, they've drawn a game. Olympiacos has drawn 2 games. AEK has drawn 2 games, and they lost against the team in Europe as well. So had we actually won the Panetolikos game, like going into the playoffs, we would have been on what 5 wins in the last 5 games. We would have been the most informed team heading into the playoffs. So
We still
um,
technically are
yeah,
the most informed team heading to the playoffs, judging by those
true.
results. But that gap of 6 points to 8 points is a big jump. It's a big jump, and that's what I was very disappointed in. I felt that Panetolikos game, we should have just gone for it. Should have just gone for it because we probably scare a few teams.
Hmm. 100%.
Now,
We're unpredictable.
yeah, yeah, and the draw comes out today, so obviously it's not going to be reported on this podcast. It will be post this podcast, but it looks like you know it. Ike's leading by 2 points, but it's pretty much now a three-horse race for that title. But if we had been just a little bit closer, that 5.6 points behind third, second, we could have caused a little bit of issues. But now everything hinges on this first game, really. Whoever we get drawn against, everything hinges on this first game. If we lose, it's pretty much done. I think we can just plan for the next season, see what's going to work for the next season. If we manage to get a win, everything changes once again how we approach these finals. So um, everything really does hinge on this first game. We either win and we've got five more finals, or our season's just officially blown up.
Yeah, yeah. Yep. My main focus, honestly, I just want to derail Olympiacos from winning the title. That's what I want.
Yeah, yeah. I think anyone but Olympiacos, I
Yeah,
can live with. If
yeah.
it's not
Falk or
us,
Ike, I
anyone
don't
but
care.
Olympiacos.
Yep.
Yeah, and it all hinges here. And Olympiacos' records in these derbies are not very good at all in the in-season derbies. So yeah, it's it's going to be an interesting when the playoffs come, because now the international break is happening. So players get to rest a bit. Players go away for the international duty, come back. We'll see what happens from there.
True.
But you know, now if our season, we lose this first game, and it's quite possible we can go 0 out of 6. It's very likely. We've lost both derbies against AEK. We've beaten Olympiacos once and drew once. Bulk we're 1-1 with. But we've lost the last three against Bulk in the two Greek Cup legs. Look, anything can really happen from here in terms of what happens. We can go 0-6, and there's reports that Rafa might leave, and I don't know how true they are. It is what's circulating on social media. I did read, I think, last month from Duani say reporter for Mega and I think Nova, where he said initially, and we did talk about it, that Rafa most likely to leave and there'll be an interim coach. So now there's obviously rumors from more unverified sources or no sources at all, with large followings, that Panathinaikos will be looking for a new coach. Now that could mean either that Rafa might leave on his own accord, or we actually might be looking for a coach, maybe a big name coach that can replace him. From what I've read, including what our friend Leo Fordo said, Rafa's not going to leave, but we are, if he does leave, it's because of another big name coach that's coming in. Now, what that tells me is Panathinaikos is looking at their options. They're looking at what coach can they attract to bring. So it doesn't rule out that Rafa's position is safe. It's just saying that we're holding on to Rafa for now. If we can't find someone, a good big coach to replace him, then he will be staying. That kind of then effectively rules out coaches that I think I would like to see, like Leto or Papadopoulos. Um, I think that effectively rules them out.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I would have loved to see Leto as well. We already know the history that he has with the club. He's been doing good in the league. It seems like the FC is kind of going in the direction that the BC is going with, in terms of like trying to attract the biggest names. And at the same time, like I'm thinking to myself, let's say Rafa does leave. Realistically, like what big name could we attract? Because it seems like we have been talking to and attracting like big names that are heading towards retirement age. Like they're kind of towards the twilight of their career, like Rafa Benitez. We were linked with Maurizio Sarri like last year. It's just like these names that are. I think Spalletti as well was rumored one time too. So
Yeah, his name was there.
really, really, yeah. So it's like we're just constantly being linked with these older players, or sorry, these older coaches. Is that the right move? I don't know. I mean, in terms of Rafa, I shared in a conversation, I'm not completely sold on Rafa, to be honest. Like we've been on a great run recently. I can't deny it. So if he leaves, I won't be too upset about it. Like let's say when Jova left or when Rui left. If he stays, I also don't mind because at the same time we'll finally have a little bit of continuity and then he can build the roster out the way he wants in the summer. Um, it's just interesting that these reports came out because you would have thought like after we went on this run in Europe, again we lost to Betis, but to me it was still a success as well. That now we're kind of seeing these rumors online that his position may not be or he may not be in the head coach position for next season. So it's interesting. It's really really interesting. Um, to kind of see that development. I think he probably is going to stay. Unless we have like a catastrophic, like if we go 0 for 6 in playoffs, then yeah, he'll probably, I guess, be sacked.
Yeah, yeah, and look, I agree with you. I don't think I'll be too disappointed if our time with Rafa does go. He's won me over a little bit because of the run. I won't say still because of how we played, because I don't think much of how we played has changed. We're not dominating games. We're not really. I think we're just getting the result with how we're playing. Because I'm still seeing a little bit of game management, not the greatest still. I think even though we beat, say, Betis 1-0, my criticism of that match was he waited until the 75th minute to make those first subs. I know he won the match, and that's what really cares about. But when I'm looking at game management, I don't think it was the best game management. We're looking now at we're looking at results. He's getting the results, so he's getting starting to get the trust there, but not much really has changed. Like Panetolikos at home, we drew Astera Stipulis. We required two penalties to beat them. We had that one sort of big chance where Zarori smashed it. Tete came off Tete, who poked his leg out, and the keeper did a pretty good save. But there wasn't really many chances after that either. So it's not to say that we've improved, there's been improvement. We're just getting the job done from what has happened a month ago compared to now. It's just the result is there, but nothing's changed in terms of performances to say, wow, wow, things like that. What has changed? Because not much has changed really in the answer. It's just, we're just strolling along.
Yeah, exactly like the style of play isn't necessarily the best, watching it. It's just like you said, we're kind of getting the results. Some of it, I feel like his system doesn't really match with the tools that we have or the players that we have at hand. So part of me is holding out hope that maybe in the summer he's gonna work with Cozzoli to like bring in whatever he thinks he needs because like what we've seen Bacacetas have to be converted to play something that he really hasn't played before. I think even Sanchez a little bit has been kind of he's had to alter his style a little bit to fit that midfield that he wants as well. So it's definitely interesting. But like yeah, I'm a little more sold on him than I was like a month ago, but at the same time, I'm also not fully sold either to where if he leaves, I'm not gonna, be upset about it, like I said.
Yeah, and you did actually now say a very interesting point where um, he's got to work with Kotolis. Now, I don't know if them two have been working well together realistically, either, because we're seeing such as the injury toll and certain players that Rafa himself brought in are not working out. Sissoko, one of them. Javier Hernandez was doing okay. He started he got the trust ahead of Tuba in that Betis game as well, but now he's injured as well. He's not the quality, so we're gonna have to look at how that relationship is, especially come the summer transfer targets in what we bring. We're reading reports that certain goalkeepers are not really getting chances as well. Once again, all social media, but what does make sense is we brought in a quality keeper in Chavez from Panetolikos. He's a very good Greek League standard keeper, and we've not seen him 1 minute. I would have preferred to see him over Lafont in this Asteras game. Like, why not? There was nothing really at stake for it. I would have liked to seen a little bit more, um, a few more changes. I was hoping to see Jagicic. We saw about 15, 20 minutes stint from Jagicic. I was hoping we see quite a lot more from Jagicic. Um, Even throw in because we're light on defenders. Vindra from our youth who comes with big expectation. There's I think a few solid raps on Vindra at the moment. So he's Vindra's son, the former player's son. He's
Mhm.
a centre back. I would have liked to have seen him. But that he wasn't even on the bench. So in that last game, I thought there was a few things, strange sort of decisions, especially to carry on Lafont. Even Gortadis, like he's been fantastic whenever he's been in goals. Gortadis has been
Mhm.
fantastic. The last time he in his outing he kept a clean sheet. So what does he have to do as well? Especially in a what was a dead rubber game to get game time against last place. Like some strange some strange decisions. So not to there might be obviously um rumors to that. Like they might be a little bit more true that Rafa is playing his favorites. He's playing his sort of thing. But yeah, it's a bit head scratching for me why we didn't at least see Cortades or Chavez in goals. Maybe a little bit more Jagicic because he can't say not ready, young, etc. Because he's thrown Andino and he gave Andino like 4 or 5 starts in a row, who came from South America. While Jagicic is coming mid-season, his prime. Um, yeah, he's shown good
Food for thought.
glimpses. Yeah, so there is that as well. What has been making social media as well, especially on the football side of things. And it does look it's not verified from our accounts as official, but from the football sources, I can't remember what the site is called, but they did say Triantafylos Tsapras from Levidaikos to Panathinaikos is a closed deal. The matter concerning Triantafylos Tsapras and Panathinaikos has been definitely closed for several days. So I think we've talked about Tsapras, his name, since the last season as well, to bring him in. Obviously, we didn't bring him in, but his name has always been there of being linked to us, Ike. I'm pretty sure Ike, definitely PAO, definitely Olympiacos, but the agreement and the deal is for Panathinaikos, which everything is pointing to now. We've talked about Tsapras enough to know his quality. He's ready for the step up to this, and I think this move does make sense because A, quality, B, Greek, and C, I think Calabria's time is going to come to an end with us. I think he will move back to Italy because if you remember in the winter transfer window, Lazio and Fiorentina were the two teams interested in Calabria. That news did not die easy and quietly. I think there was an agreement we made with him to say, "Hey, just stay out the season. Let's continue this European run. We need you. We'll let you go back to Italy come the summer." I think those were the conversations. I'm not saying wholeheartedly. I know that these are the conversations. I feel those are the conversations because Calabria still has shown glimpses that he's quality. There's a couple of good glimpses that he's shown us that he's a quality player. There's a couple of little mistakes that he does, but if we can get a transfer fee 1.5, 2 million from him to go back to Italy, I take that. You bring in Tsapras, who's a player that can be with you for at least 6, 7 years. He's 23, 24, whatever he is, 23. He's There's good glimpses for Tsapras to bring him in right now. He's ready to step up to Panathinaikos. There's no doubt about that for me. He's a quality player for that and a handy replacement.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. It just adds on to having the Greeks in the roster, and it aligns with the plan that we saw Alafuso or Cozzoli mention back in January of trying to fill out the roster with younger Greek players and then having some higher quality foreigners in the list as well. He's 24 years old. He's a right back. Like you said, if he comes in, I think that does pretty much um, you know, confirmed that Calabria is gonna leave. Unfortunately for me, I really like Calabria now, but I mean, I'm looking at his stats right here. These stats could maybe be off, but Google AI is showing 10 assists for Leodiakos this season. So, I mean, that's incredible. For me personally, something that we've kind of I've seen the team kind of struggle with is like our crossing. I feel like on that left hand side, I feel bad, but I target him, Kyriakopoulos. I feel like he's just not that good at crossing on the left side. On the right side, Calabria is a little bit better, but Tsapras here with 10 assists. I mean, man, that to me that's showing that he'll be able to provide something from that right hand side. So even if Calabria does leave, quality wise, it doesn't look like we're going to take too much of a hit there because we really rely on that right side anyway. I'd be more than happy to have him on the team as well. Again, Greek, young, lots of upside to him. And it's not like we're going to downgrade from it. In my opinion, it could even possibly be an upgrade given his age and his already experience that he has in the league.
Yeah, yeah. It looks like he's got 9 or 10 assists in all competitions. 10. There's
Okay.
definitely 9 Super League assists, but I can't see if there's anything in the Greek Cup. It's not stating anything. But yeah, he's 24 years old. I think now's the right time. Good age. Now's the time for him to move into it. And it is on transferfeed.com. That's where they post up everything related to transfer news. If you filter by the club, they're saying that it's pretty much done for the summer. So yeah, I think that's a really good get there for us. But we're heading in now, and this is why I would have probably liked to have seen Vidra because we're heading into an injury crisis at the moment in our senior team. So Katris out for the season. I think I read bicep contusion. Not too sure if that's the injury he sustained. Javier Hernandez was injured against or got injured against Asteras Tripolis. He looked like he was holding his ankle. It looks like a decent or a serious injury, I should say, with the initial scans. They haven't said what the recovery time is or how long he's out. Yedvay was ruled out due to injury. I don't know how serious his injury is. I haven't read too much about it, but hopefully with this international break, we get him back because we're going to need him. The signing which disappointed a lot of Bowl fans in the winter, Sissoko has been ruled out for the season.
Oh,
Just
great.
absolutely shocking how this transfer got done and why it got done. Um, been a disaster. Classic Alafouzos era signing. This was a Benitez signing, but it's just one of those signings that is part of the Alafouzos era signing. This should have been vetoed by Alafouzos himself. I know Rafa's got the final say, but this one was it's just blown up in our face. And again, it's blown up in our face. And now we got told from a Papadimitriou signing where it was against Rui Vitória. Rui Vitória didn't want him, but now Desses has been ruled out for the rest of the season, requiring surgery. Now, this was when he was already meant to be back. So he got injured in Copa Africa during training. It was meant to be a 2 month recovery when at the end of March, mid to end March, and now we're told that he's out for the season because now it requires surgery. It's just plain shit luck because we've seen Desses has had an injury-free career and he's had 2 long-term injuries at Panathinaikos, both happening at training. One for Panathinaikos before the young boys, and now for Nigeria in Copa Africa.
You just can't make it up. You can't make it up. It's terrible. It's terrible, terrible. I mean, the Desters thing, I mean, thankfully, we've got the day at least, but I would have liked to have that rotation of, because Swiderski for me is really kind of he's too up and down this season. So having Dessers in the few games that I did see him play, I mean, he looked pretty solid. And unfortunately now,
He was
going into
very good.
playoffs, yeah, now he's out. And so the Sissoko thing, I mean, it it explains itself. We all were against that deal. A year and a half deal, I mean, was ridiculous. 6 month loan, okay, or 6 month signing, whatever it would have been, that would have been fine. But a year and a half, I mean, come on.
For
The
a
age,
36-year-old turning 37.
yeah, he's towards the declining age of his career, and picks up a knock like that. It's terrible. I mean, again, we see some improvements that the club's making in some areas, and then we see the same stupid mistakes again and again. And I don't know. I'm a broken record with this stuff.
Yeah. Look, it's disappointing because look, Dessa's if he was fit, be a quality player pushing another quality player. That they would have been learning from him as well. It would have been pushing both players as well because they're both quality players. But it's a signing that you have to say, just based on facts, it hasn't worked out. Just purely on the basis that he's been injured, it hasn't worked out. So it's yeah, shocking for me that now this news has come out, especially that there was a month ago a picture of him at the airport, and now, you know, now he's not even going to see another minute in for the rest of the season.
I I could have sworn like last week I read a report that he was going to be back like soon, unless I'm wrong. And I woke up this morning to that news, and I'm thinking, what a joke.
Yeah, no, you're right. He was meant to be back, but um, here we are.
Yeah.
Here we are. And and this was a Papadimitriou signing. This is Rui Vitoria did not want him. He wanted Banza from Braga.
hmm
Uh, and Banza in I know it's the UAE league, but he's on 7 goals from 11 games. That's what we've missed out on. He seems to be fit. We instead we've got a guy that can't stay fit.
Yeah, we
There's
spent
been no
5 million
injury
too.
concerns. Yeah. So this signing has blown up in our faces. Um, so yeah, a classic. Once again, an Alafouzos era signing and under Papa Dimitriou. So it's just these two signings just sum up the whole Alafouzos era.
Exactly, 100%.
So yeah, disappointing news for especially about those two players. Katris, he's going to be a future PAO starter, long
Yeah.
term. Potentially Greece player. He's been ruled out of the under 21s as well, which is quite sad. But he's going to come back stronger. He's come back to Panathinaikos, getting a lot of game time from Leverkusen, where he was getting zero to playing in Europe to playing Betis. So from not even being able to play Leverkusen in their Khurafi there, he's gone to Spain,
Yeah.
played in like a 60,000 seater stadium as a starting centre back. So it's gonna be good for him. But yeah, good for him to come back, get a good preseason and get his confidence and start getting that winning that spot back. But yeah, I think that's the wrap for the FC side. We can start now moving across to the BC side, where there's been a few games since our last conversations. Um, I think we already discussed the eight, but in the last EuroLeague game, it was Panathinaikos Red Star 82 to 74. Now this one was one of those classic bowl games that we're sitting on the edge of our seats where we're down and we need a big fourth quarter rally to save us. We were down by 7 points heading into the final quarter, and then we just blew them away in that final quarter, 27 to 12. We finished 82-74 if I hadn't said the score. Um, how do you see this one?
A win's a win. But again, it's just a little concerning. I don't know if you saw took DPG coming down from his box seat down to the court side for them to kind of start a rally up and do good again. I don't know. Again, it was we needed to win that game, so it was good that we did. And then, of course, we went on to win the game in the league as well. But I don't know. I'm starting to get, I mean, I've been concerned, but now I'm actually like really concerned because playoffs are starting soon. And it's like, I thought after that 3 game winning streak and winning the Greek Cup a few weeks ago that this was going to change the whole momentum of the team. But in reality, it's been kind of up and down. So yeah, this game again, win is a win. It's not like Red Star are a pushover team anyway. Looking at the box score, it was pretty even keeled second and third quarter. First quarter, they were up on us by 7, and then we kind of exploded in the fourth. So that's really good to see. Our stats again weren't bad at all in terms of our shots, our field goal percentage, 3 point. Rebounding, they out rebounded us. But again, we're kind of down with our centers. I think it's just Lesor and Farid now. So uh, we're gonna kind of have to make do with what we can with that, I guess. But win is a win, and hopefully we translate that when we go to play Dubai in our next EuroLeague game tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah, because this result highlighted a few things and a few issues. We saw Holmes dropped for this game, basically because of what happened with the previous game against Ike, where Ataman kind of threw him under the bus with Ataman true style. I don't think the social media response by Holmes was the best idea. He's a really nice guy. I've met him and he's a really nice guy. I just think that response may have been maybe a bit immature, a bit childish. Probably should have locked down, just, work hard, stay silent. But now we're seeing key starters, not key starters, key players, um, getting very few minutes as well. We're seeing TJ Shorts not offering much, but getting few minutes. Mitoglu, not, barely a minute as well. And he was not too long ago, 2 seasons ago, he was one of our form players. And now we can't even get more than a minute as well. There was a few ineffective players. I think Slukas got 8 assists, but didn't shoot at all, 0 points. We kind of relied on um, Kendrick Nunn to light up in that fourth quarter with Hayes Davis steady shooting and Oroga's, just getting the job done defensively and attacking me to get the points in this one. So defensively, we can say, and we went with a small ball. 74 is pretty good to limit a team that's pretty much on par with us as well. Um, so we did get that win. We overtook them in the standings. We're on the same wins now. But now these 2 games realistically are going to make our break our season. So we've got Dubai on the road. They're sitting 1 win behind us in 11th spot. That's out of that. That's out of that play-in spot. If they beat us by a big margin, we're pretty much effectively in that 11th spot, which is out of the play-in spot, which will be disaster. So very important that game. And then Monaco, who's on the same wins as us, but got a 72-point better for and against differential. We're hosting them at home, and they're kind of in mixed form at the moment, where they beat Olympiacos, they beat FS, FS's thing, but they got smashed by Fenerbahce, Maccabi, so they're a bit of mixed patch of form. You don't really know what you're going to get from them when we come up against them. Um, it's been said that they won't be in the EuroLeague next season. I think they're looking to pull out funding on that. So, and we've seen through videos issues with our former player as well, Mike as well.
James.
So. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what kind of Monaco comes in. Are they all going to really push for it and try and do something, or they're just going to collapse? But these 2 games are really key in regards to it. Um, but we did, yeah, we did get the win, important win over Red Star, and a few days after we did beat Panionios in the Greek league. fairly comfortable there as well, 84 to 68. But once again, no Richaun Holmes. Now, we just briefly spoke about his issues, but it does look like he will be completely dropped from the Panathinaikos squad in regards to it. I know you're better advice to talk more on that situation, but I'll let you talk more.
Yeah, I mean, I saw this morning they interviewed Ataman at the airport and they were asking him about the roster and he says, this is a 12-man roster now. They asked him about Holmes and he just said Holmes is out of the squad list and that if you want information that the club will have to put out a statement. So everybody's speculating, I guess, that Holmes is probably out of the team. He's probably going to get cut. Um, again, all signs point towards when Ataman called him out after the game against Ike, like you mentioned, and then the social media kind of comments or I guess emoji replies with the laughing faces from home. So that kind of just threw everything up in the air. Who knows what's been going on behind the scenes, but for me, it just shows I think things have just kind of gotten out of control with the team, like out of hand a little bit. Um, and who knows, maybe like half the locker room is fine and the other half isn't. Who knows? Like we've gone to such a shorter rotation now, like you mentioned. I don't know. I really don't know what to expect, and it's a real possibility that we can miss the playoffs, which I didn't expect that honestly. Like you mentioned, we need to win against Dubai. I'm not sure if Dubai is playing in their actual home because the whole situation that's going on in the Middle East. I don't know if they've been moved away or not. So that'll be kind of interesting to see. Monaco is going to be a trap game, I think, because, like you mentioned, they beat Olympiacos. They had beaten a couple other teams, and the thing is, Spanulis left. Their ownership allegedly is like they're trying to sell the team. Like you mentioned, there's reports that they're not going to be in EuroLeague next year. So there's a whole bunch of stuff going on with Monaco, but they're still kind of edging out these wins in games that you're expecting them to lose by. So between the two, of course, Dubai is really important that we beat them, but I think Monaco can be easily a trap game, and we've seen this team, our team, lose in these trap games before. So must win the next couple games because yeah, it's our playoff future is on the line. It would be a shame. Imagine missing the playoffs in the year that you're hosting it at your home. That would be total embarrassment.
Yeah, yeah, and I agree with that. It is true Dubai isn't playing out of Dubai, they're playing out of Sarajevo in Bosnia. So, um, yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how many of our fans will actually go to that game because I don't think you're going to get Dubai fans really traveling. I don't think they're a passionate bunch, especially when it comes to basketball.
Right.
But yeah, I think this actually benefits us. But look, they do have a few players that can still really do some damage. They've got Bacon, former Panathinaikos player, who's what a pure scorer. They've got
Oh yeah.
Bertans, who's a excellent shooter. They've got the former Olympiacos guy, the center, who's pretty solid. Petrusev as well. Um, I think they're the main real threats in terms of the quality players that they have that if we're not switched on, can do some damage to us.
100%. Yeah, 100% there. It'll be yeah, it'll be interesting. They really do have quality.
Yeah. Yeah. Apart from that, do you have much to raise? Anything you want to bring up before we wrap it up?
No, I think that's it. I think we really kind of we really hit the nail on the head here. It's just these next couple games for BC is going to be really important because it's going to really dictate the future of the team. Kind of us going forward. So, other than that, I did see like a quick video. They opened up the VIP lounge at our basketball arena. So, that is like super state of the art. If you haven't seen it, it's like there's a restaurant in there, there's like a garden in there, the box seats and all that are all nice and done up and everything. I saw the video on Instagram yesterday. It looks incredible. But yeah, other than that, that's it. I don't think I have any other news or anything.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to discuss. I think we've nailed all the key topics. We do have international break, which means we will get a little bit of a break as well from the podcasting duties. I'll try and get maybe something up in terms of another blog. I know you're always excellent on the TikTok stage, the video, so do follow our socials there. Keep up to date with what we type, what we put out there. Always fun sort of stuff on TikTok and or on Instagram Reels. And if you've got time, blog, anything, just have a read. I know I'll be doing one very shortly. So keep a lookout for those. Thank you for listening. Follow our socials, give videos like everything, get people to subscribe. Always helps out. Antoni, once again, pleasure.
Pleasure, Sturge. See you next time.
Take care.